Hey guys, and welcome to my draft analysis of Season 1 of the P4G, the next generation. So this league is a D-League for the Pokemon for Glory, the main league so to say. And in this league we're taking part as your Dewford Dewotts. So I actually applied for a spot as a coach in this league and I ended up being fortunate enough to be accepted into it. Really didn't expect it, to be honest. But I'm really happy and excited to be here. So first off, I want to thank everyone who's involved into the P4G next gen for, well, inviting me into the league and giving me this opportunity. This league is a fun league. Of course there's some degree of competitiveness, but the main goal is to have fun, which I will definitely have. This league has 16 coaches including me. It followed the snake style draft for the entire draft, so 1 to 16 and back again. We also each had to draft 11 Pokemon from different tiers, but also 1 Z Crystal, which is pretty cool. It's pretty much the same as the WBE if you are familiar with that league. We also each had 400 points which we could use to draft free picks. Higher tier mons would of course cost more than lower tier mons. But in the P4G next gen we could also, instead of drafting a Mega or an extra tier 1 mon, we could draft a mon from the Ultra tier. So basically mons in the Ultra tier are Pokemon who are usually banned in Draft League format. Mons like Magearna or Ash Greninja, Protein Greninja, Speed Boost, Blaziken, Darkrai, Genesect and a lot more mons. I can't name them off the top of my head though, but there were some more. We could draft those, but it did come with a cost of 100 points to draft those, so it was kind of a double-edged sword so to say. So for this draft I didn't really have a plan. Well, I did want a solid Dragon Fairy Steel core since it's just such a good defensive core. And I think it can come in really clutch to have, well, a good defensive core, especially in Draft League format. So for my first pick I really wanted to pick either Celesteela or a mon from the Ultra tier. I didn't really care about the 100 point cost. In my opinion it was worth getting a powerful mon in return. But unfortunately for me, pretty much every single mon I had laid my eyes on got taken. So Celesteela got taken, the mons in the Ultra tier I wanted were taken, mons like Magearna, Naganadel or Naganadel, still don't know how that thing is pronounced, but anyways, Mega Metagross was a mon I had my eyes on, but that was I think it was the first pick overall. Aegislash, Tapu Lele, so those all got taken, so that pretty much messed me up for the beginning of the draft. I forgot to say though, I had the 16th overall pick, so well, that is pretty good as you get the wheel pick, which means you can draft 2 mons after one another. It well, pretty much messed me up for round 1. So with all these mons gone, there was still a mon left that I had in mind and was kind of my backup pick, and that was Larios. I originally preferred Larios or maybe Mega Larios instead of Larios because I personally prefer more bulk over, well, more offense, but Mega Larios got taken round 1, which also meant that regular Larios couldn't draft it anymore. That's a rule in this league. So I went ahead and chose Larios. Larios is a really solid mon. It gets tons of coverage like Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Shadow Ball and of course HP Fire. Larios also has pretty good stats. It has pretty decent HP in 80, 90 attack, 80 defense as well. 130 attack, so yeah, it really hits hard on the special side. It also takes pretty, well, special moves it takes pretty well with 110 special defense and 110 speed. So it's pretty much a special sweeper. Moves like Draco are probably what you're gonna see most often on it. It also has Side Shock and Side Kick, so depending on your opponent you can run either of those two. As I said, it has a ton of coverage, but it also has reliable recovery in either Roost or Recover. And last but not least, it is also a defogger. Having defog on your, well, in your draft is pretty much necessary, so I immediately have one, which is really nice. Larios also can be used as a Calm Mind. It gets Calm Mind, so in combination with Roost you could maybe run a bulky set on it. As for its ability, its only ability is Levitate, but that is pretty good ability as it gives you ground immunity, which is also really nice. As for items you can run in it, you can run either Choice Specs or Choice Scarf, that's pretty common, Life Orb as well, and also Soul Dew as it powers both your Dragon and Psychic type moves. Larios also has the option to run a physical set. It has a 90 attack set, which is pretty nice, so it can run Dragon Dance, which it gets Earthquake, Dragon Claw or Outrage or Zen Headbutt, so that's also an option. So yeah, I'm just really happy with Larios as my first pick. It also pretty much starts my whole Fairy Dragon Steel core, which I wanted. But as I said, I had the wheel pick, so I could basically pick 2 mons. So after Larios I decided to kind of postpone my Fairy Dragon Steel core since, well, pretty much the best steel types were taken. Celesteela was taken, Heatran was taken. So yeah, I went ahead and shifted my focus to a more offensive Psychic Dark Fighting core instead of a Fairy Dragon Steel core, and I drafted Megalopunny. I was pondering a bit about whether I should draft Pheromosa, which is in the Ultra tier, but in my opinion it wasn't worth the 100 points as it's kind of frail and well, Megalopunny is somewhat more bulky than it, but it can still kind of hit as hard as Pheromosa, so I decided to pick Megalopunny. So instead of an Ultra pick, which I would have liked, I decided just to go with a Mega, and Megalopunny was a Mega I haven't used that often, so I wanted to try it out. And well, as I said, for a more offensive fighting Psychic Dark Core, Megalopunny would put in work because of its Scrappy ability, which is get upon Mega Evolving. Scrappy pretty much allows it to hit Ghost types with both of its normal and fighting type moves, so that's really nice. Megalopunny has just a really good attack and speed, 136 attack and 135 speed, so it pretty much outspeeds almost everything. Its defenses are also pretty nice, 94 and 96, so it isn't bad at all. As for its moves, it actually gets pretty good coverage of moves. It gets Drain Punch, which can be run if you want some recovery, I guess. But its main stab is of course High Jump Kick, which you're probably most likely gonna run. It's pretty much gonna decimate anything that isn't resisted. Return of Frustration can be run at it as well. Fake Out is really nice priority. Megalopunny also gets Ice Punch as coverage, so that's really nice to hit those flying types. I think it also gets Thunder Punch and Fire Punch. Another move it gets is Power Up Punch, which is really nice, gives it that +1 attack boost, which could come in really clutch. Megalopunny also has the opportunity to Baton Pass, which is allowed in this league. I don't think passing stats is allowed, but just dry passing is allowed, so that's really nice as well. Encore is a move Lopunny has, and one more move it gets is actually Healing Wish, so we might be able to go for Healing Wish to, well, pretty much heal up any of our other mons. So yeah, I'm really excited to use Megalopunny. As I said, I haven't used it that often, so I'm really, well, looking forward to how it will work in Draft League format. For my round 3 pick, to finish up my offensive core, I picked Bisharp. I originally had my eyes on Weavile, but that one got taken. But Bisharp is a really solid mon. It has a pretty high attack stat of 125. Its speed is, well, kind of mediocre, but its defense is pretty nice. It has 100 base defense. Its moves are also really nice. It gets Knock Off, one of the best moves in the game, Iron Head, just really powerful stab, and it just really, it's just a really solid mon in combination with Larios and Lopunny. Those three together, and you don't really have a solid switch into all three of those. But yes, sets you're most likely gonna see on Bisharp are SD, Sucker Punch, Iron Head and Knock Off. But it also gets Cool Tech and Low Kick. I think it also gets Axe Scissor. And apparently Stealth Rock I see now is that a new move on Bisharp? I think it has to be. So apparently Bisharp gets Stealth Rocks. I really didn't knew that at all until now. So we do have another Stealth Rock setter, which is really nice. Bisharp's abilities are Defiant, Inner Focus and Pressure, but you're most likely just gonna run Defiant. It gives you that +2 attack boost if ever one of your stats gets dropped, so that's really nice. So it kind of gives me an answer to intimidate users like Landorus or anything else. So yeah, I'm really happy with Bisharp. It really, as I said, completes the Psychic Fighting Dark Core I was going for. And it also gives me a Psychic immunity as Lopunny is weak to Psychic types. My next pick was, in my opinion, kind of a questionable pick. I think I could have drafted it some rounds later, and I really came to regret drafting it for a sec because I was really scared the next one I really wanted would be sniped from me. Luckily it didn't, but I will get to that in a minute. But my round 4 pick was Gliscor because I really wanted an electric immunity as well as another ground type immunity that wasn't levitating in case we ever face a Mold Breaker mon, and Gliscor fitted both of those roles. I also wanted a more bulky mon since my last 3 picks were more offensively based, and Gliscor is really bulky in defense because of its 125 defense stat. Its HP is pretty low, but its defense makes up for that. It also has the ability Poison Heal, which is really nice. It gives me a status absorber. We're pretty much always gonna run Toxic Orb on it to take advantage of the Poison Heal ability. As for its moves, it also gets pretty good moves, acrobatics, so I could see myself one week run a Fling set, fling away the Toxic Orb and allow for a fully powered acrobatics. That could maybe work, I don't know. Earthquake of course as its main stab. Gliscor is also another Defog and Stealth Rock user, that's really nice. Now in Ultra Sun and Moon, Defog is compatible with Poison Heal, so we can run both of those at the same time, so that's really nice. More moves Gliscor gets are the Elemental Fang move, U-turn for Switch Initiative, Knock Off. It also gets Roost, so that's nice, we have some more recovery. So yeah, it's a really solid mon in my opinion. As I said, I wasn't really sure if I should have drafted it at this point, but I'm glad I did draft it. I mean, it can really put in some work, especially if Another set you could run is a more offensive set with SD, so it has the opportunity, so it can basically be both bulky and offensive, which I really like. I really like the versatility in Gliscor. So now to my next picks. As I said earlier, I was really scared this mon would get sniped from me, but luckily it didn't. I guess I was sniped enough in the first couple of rounds, but I drafted Empoleon. I finally decided to finish up my original intended core and draft a bulky steel type. It's also a bulky water, which is really nice. And Empoleon just really has good synergy with two of my mons. With both Larios and Gliscor. It takes the ice type moves for both Larios and Gliscor, while those two take the fighting and ground type moves for Empoleon. Gliscor is also immune to electric type moves, while Empoleon takes fairy and dragon type moves for Larios. And Empoleon also gives me another Stealth Rock Setter as well as a Defogger, so you really can't have enough of those, I guess. But yeah, I just really thought Empoleon fitted well on the team. Empoleon has really nice Spadef, 101 Spadef, but also pretty good Spatek, so you could also run an offensive set with maybe agility or something on Empoleon and just use its great Spatek stat. As for its abilities, it has both Torrent and Defiant. Defiant, you could run that on a possible physical set, but you're probably not gonna run that ever, so Torrent is most likely the one you wanna use. As for its items, you could run AV on it or just leftovers, or maybe the ground reduction berry, the Shaka berry, or the Chopple berry could also be run on it. Tons of options. As for its moves, as I said, it's a Defogger and Stealth Rock Setter. Scald is one of the best moves in the game. Even though Burn got nerfed, Scald is still a pretty solid move. It also has Roar just to stop setup sweepers. Ice Beam for coverage, Grass Knot. So yeah, just really solid mon. Good synergy with Gliscor and Larios. I just really like it. So now with both Larios and Empoleon, I decided to round up my Dragon Fairy Steel Core and I went ahead and picked Aromatisse. So I wanted the Fairy type as well as a Cleric, and Aromatisse is both of these things. It gives Empoleon Wish support, which I really like since Empoleon doesn't have reliable recovery at all. Originally I wanted either Sylveon or Florges, but those two got drafted already in round 2 I believe, so Aromatisse was pretty much the best thing left, but it does get the job done. It's pretty bulky. While its defenses aren't as great as with Sylveon and Florges, it does have a really high HP stat of 101, so that kind of makes up for that. As for its moves, it gets Calm Mind, so just like Florges and Sylveon, it gets that. It gets Moonblast, of course, Heal By and Wish, because it's a Cleric, as I said. One thing it does get that Sylveon and Florges don't though, is Trick Room, so we do have a Trick Room user on the team, so that's really nice. We might be able to run Trick Room 1 week and possibly do some work or something like that, so that's pretty nice. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with Aromatisse. As I said, I would have preferred either Sylveon or Florges since those two are pretty much better in my opinion, but I'm really glad with Aromatisse. I think it can put in work, especially in combination with both Empoleon and Larios, just to make a nice defensive core, which I wanted to begin with. So with my cores now done, I decided to look for types I didn't have yet, and I noticed I didn't have an electric type yet. So I had two electric types in mind, both Jolteon and Raikou, but of course they got picked this round. So just before I wanted to pick either one of those, they got both picked. So I decided to settle with Heliolisk. However, I noticed people had begun drafting their Z crystals, and I really didn't want to be left with a Z crystal that would be useless to me. So I decided to pick Circuitry as my next pick instead of Heliolisk, and you'll hear about why in a second. So first, let's go into Circuitry as a mon. It is a pretty good mon. It has a massive Spatek stat of 173, just really powerful. It also gets tons of good moves like Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, but also tons of coverage moves in Dazzling Gleam, Energy Ball, Grass Knot on the more heavier mons. HP Ice, of course, Signal Beam is a move it gets. It also gets Tail Glow, which is really nice. It allows you to set up to +3 and pretty much nuke something. Its ability is Beast Boost, which is just a really powerful ability. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with Circuitry. I haven't used it that often. I think the last time I used it was in, well, the beginning of Sun and Moon. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I picked it as well, since I haven't really used it that often. So it really should be fun to use. One thing though, it's that its speed leaves a bit to be desired. It's only 83, which isn't really that high. But I kind of fixed this because next I drafted the Psychium Z. So I went ahead and decided to draft my Z crystal. I didn't really want to risk it getting taken. So I said I fixed this speed problem because with the Psychium Z, Circuitry can use Z Hypnosis, which you guys probably know gives the user a +1 in speed. So if Hypnosis also lands, Circuitry might really be able to set up and pretty much sweep. So that would be really nice if that were to happen. The Psychium Z can also be used on Larios for hard hitting step Z moves. It could also be used in a combination with Calm Mind. Larios gets Calm Mind, so a +1 Z move could really hurt. Well, it will definitely hurt, unless you're a Dark type or Steel type, but whatever. Larios and Circuitry are pretty much my only mons though that can effectively use this Z crystal, so that kinda sucks, but I'm alright with that. I'd rather have a few mons being able to use the move, or use the crystal I mean, than no mons at all. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the Psychium Z. It just gives Circuitry more chance to shine as well as Larios, so... But for my next pick, I really wanted a Fire type, since I pretty much couldn't touch Grass or Bug type Pokemon with my current mons. However, at this point of the draft, pretty much all good Fire types were gone. Mons like Arcanine, Volcanion or Infernape, they were all taken already, so I decided to go with Chandelure as my second tier 3 pick. So Chandelure is kinda similar to Circuitry in the fact that it doesn't really have the best speed, but it does have a whopping Spatek stat. Chandelure has a Spatek stat of 145, so yeah, really powerful. It's got the abilities Flash Fire, Flame Body and Infiltrator, so those are pretty good abilities. Flash Fire is probably the one you're gonna run most likely on it because of its fire immunity, but Infiltrator could also work if you're potentially facing a, a substitute mon, so that could be really nice. Items you run on Chandelure are most often Choice Scarf or Choice Specs, but Leftovers could also be run in it in combination with Substitute Calm Mind, because that's also a valid option on Chandelure. Moves Chandelure gets are Clear Smog, just to get rid of the target's stat changes, which could come in really clutch. Energy Ball for coverage. Flamethrower or Fire Blast if you want to go the more powerful way, I guess. Flame Charge is a way to boost your speed. It also gets Will-O-Wisp, which is really nice. In combination with Hex, this could work, but you're most likely just gonna run the solid Shadow Ball on it. It also gets Psychic, which is really nice, so Chandelure is a mon that could make use of the Psychium Z and go for a Shattered Psyche. So yeah, Chandelure was pretty much the best Fire type mon I could get at this point, but I'm pretty happy with it. It also gives me a Fire immunity, which is really nice. But to go to my next pick, it was a tier 5 as I still had to draft one, and so in case you didn't know, tier 5 pretty much consists of all PU mons and some middle evolutions, so nothing really amazing. But I saw Cryogonal there and I thought it would be pretty good to add it to the team, as I didn't have an Ice type yet, and it also gives me another Defogger but also another Rapid Spinner, which I didn't have yet. So that gives me the opportunity to run Rapid Spin on it and just preserve my hazards and just get rid of my opponent's hazards. One of the reasons I chose Cryogonal as well is that you guys might have noticed is that I don't really have the fastest team, and Cryogonal just gives me another mon that's above the 100 base speed at 105. Its other stats are pretty good. Its Spatek is reasonable, 95. It does have really good Spadef and 135. Its attack and defense are pretty poor, so that's a bit of a problem. Its defensive only 50, and I think it got buffed in Gen 7, so yeah, nothing really special about that. It only has the ability Levitate, so we do have another ground type immunity, which is also nice. As for its moves, it gets Defog as I said and Rapid Spin, but also Freeze Dry, so Freeze Dry is a really cool move in that it also hits water types for super effective damage. So water types pretty much aren't safe for Cryogonal. Ice Beam is a move it gets. It gets priority in Ice Shard, so even though its physical attack isn't that high, maybe Ice Shard could come in clutch, I don't know. It also gets both Reflect and Light Screen, so it could be used as a screen setter. It gets Recovery in Recover, and I think that's pretty much all there is to say about Cryogonal. It also gets Flash Cannon, I'm seeing right here. So yeah, it doesn't really get the most moves or the best moves, but I just thought it would be one of the better mons to pick in tier 5. So for my final 2 picks, these were both free picks and I still had 120 points left, so I decided to spend those on 2 tier 4 mons. The first one being Gourgeist, so I'm not really certain about Gourgeist. It is a good mon, don't get me wrong. It gets tons of good moves like Synthesis, Shadow Sneak for priority. It also gets Fire type moves, which is really cool. Other moves it gets are Leech Seed, which is also really nice, and Seed Bomb for Step. It is also another Will-O-Wisp user, so Gourgeist could really function well as a defensive wall. But still, as I said, I'm not really certain about Gourgeist because it gives me another Ghost type. And now I have 2 Ghost types in Chandelure and Gourgeist. so I don't really feel comfortable about this, as it gives me another weakness to both Dark and Ghost, and I kinda have a lot of those because of Chandalier and Larios, and now also because of Gourgeist. But yeah, the main reason I decided to pick Gourgeist is because I wanted a grass type which could resist ground type moves, because I do have quite some mons that are weak to ground type moves, and I do have some immunities, but I also wanted a resist. With Gourgeist I'm also able to use all of its forms, so that's pretty nice. I'm pretty sure though I'm gonna stick with the bulky super size most of the time, but there could be a time where I want to use the small size one because of its higher speed, who knows. So Gourgeist, it is a solid mon. I might trade it later, I don't know yet, but for now it's just staying on the team and we'll see how it goes. But now we come to my final pick of the draft, and it is none other than Shuckle. I really wasn't sure who to choose. I was thinking about possibly Weezing or Rhyperior, but I then saw Shuckle still lying there untouched and I just couldn't pass it up. Shuckle is pretty much just a hazard setter, setting both Stealth Rocks up but also Sticky Web, and this is pretty much the reason I drafted Shuckle. As I said earlier, I don't really have the fastest team. My only mons that surpass the 100 base speed are Megalopunny, Larios and Cryogonal, so Sticky Web support could really help my team out a lot. Mons like Circuitry and Chandalier especially, and Bisharp as well. Shuckle's stats are pretty nice. It has 230 in both defense and special defense, so yeah, you're not breaking through that unless you're well, I don't really know, maybe a +2 Iron Head will do the trick. Its abilities are Sturdy, Gluttony and Contrary, so pretty nice abilities. Contrary, I don't see myself using that. Maybe Contrary Shell Smash, that could be run, but I doubt I will go for that. Gluttony could be nice if I run one of those super citrus berry, like the Figgy Berry, and the Figgy Berry is pretty much the only thing I can come up with now off the top of my head. That would be really nice, just to go half health and have the Figgy Berry pop and pretty much have all my health restored. Sturdy is another ability it gets. That's pretty much the main ability you're gonna use. Shuckle, as I said, sets up Stealth Rock and Sticky Web. It also gets Encore, which could come in clutch. It could also be used as a kind of a stally mon with trapping someone with Infestation and go for Toxic and kind of stall them out or at least weaken them. But yeah, that's pretty much the only thing Shuckle does, but I really wanted the Sticky Web support. It could come in really clutch and would be really nice. And yeah, this was pretty much it for my draft. I think I came up with a solid draft, even though I kinda got sniped a lot during this draft. I think I came up with some solid mons. As I said, it's not perfect, but I do think we have some power. Well, we definitely have some power, and I'm really excited to see how this team will function. But yeah, as I said, this is a team for the Dewford Dewotts in the P4G next generation. Battles will go up each Friday starting next week, so be sure to look forward to that. I want to upload team builders for this league as well each week, the day before the battle begins, so on Thursday. So I'll try to do that. Our first opponent will be Carson, Toxic Gaming and the Chicago Bewares. Also definitely be sure to check out and subscribe to all of the other coaches in this league. All the channel links are down in the description below. But to end things off, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and comment if you're excited to see how the Dewford Dewotts will do in this league. I'll probably lose every game, but that's alright. As I said, having fun is the most important in this league. But anyway, take care and I'll see you guys later. Bye!